Feeling overwhelmed by shipping complexities and industry jargon? ProShip ParcelCast Unwined is here to help. Join us as we unwind with industry experts, break down complex topics, and make shipping enjoyable with a cocktail in hand. Learn about the latest trends in technology, navigate carrier changes, and gain valuable insights from the pros. ProShip ParcelCast Unwined. It's your one-stop shop for simplifying logistics, one sip at a time. Brought to you by ProShip, the last shipping software you'll ever need. Now, ready to help you ship smarter, not harder, here's your host, Jerri Dixon.
Welcome, everyone, to today's episode of ProShip ParcelCast Unwind. Today's episode is titled Beyond Peak, Optimizing Shipping Strategies for the Year Ahead. I'm excited to be joined by two experts. One of them is from ProShip, and one of them is from Pitney Bowes. From ProShip, we have Will Hennessey. He's the Enterprise Sales Manager. And we also have from Pitney Bowes, Vijay Ramachandran. He's the Vice President of GTM Enablement. Welcome, gentlemen. Will and Vijay, will you please introduce yourselves and give a short self-intro?
Yeah, sure, I'll start. Thank you, Jerri, for having us on today. Will Hennessey, based out of the Atlanta metro area, been with ProShip for almost 2 years now and previously used to work at UPS at their corporate office. So very excited for today's conversation, really centering around peak season and things that we learned and also how to best prepare for the upcoming year.
And I'm Vijay. I live down the street from Will. Now we're across town from each other in the Atlanta area. I've been kicking around the e-commerce logistics space for an embarrassingly long time, about 20 years. I think e-commerce has only been around for about 20 years. Is that right, Will? I think it's something around that. But it's been a long, strange trip. Spent my quite a bit of time in warehouse management and order management space, and now do a lot of parcel logistics, transportation with Pitney Bowes, where I lead kind of both market research as well as some of our product management functions.
Welcome, Vijay. Welcome, Will. Thank you for being on today. We are very thrilled to have you both join us for this episode. This episode, we will be taking a reflective look back at the recent peak season. So everybody buckle up as we unpack the lessons learned, the strategies that stood out, and how to leverage those insights to future-proof your deliveries for the next big rush. But before we get started, let's raise a glass to a celebratory drink that reflects the challenges and triumphs of peak season. With Cinco de Mayo just around the corner, it feels like the perfect time for a refreshing spicy marg. Take that back. Just was around the corner. So the title of this, or the name of this drink, is Post-Peak Fiesta Margarita. Now, our marketing department sent us these really cool cocktail boxes from Cocktail Courier, and the name of this drink is El Pepino, and inside of it is Blanco tequila, lime juice, cucumber syrup, agave syrup, a pinch of celery salt, tahini, pepper, a salt blend, and some lime juice. So everybody, if you would, raise your glass, and cheers to you, and cheers to logistics.
Refreshing. A little spicy.
Ooh, that's tasty.
That's very good, actually. Oh,
Folks are just going to watch us drink the rest of the webinar. That's what
we should have made 2 or 3 of those. That's really good. Good job, marketing. Thank you. All right, as I get the salt and the pepper off my lips. Okay, so just like the post-peak season Fiesta Margarita, it follows a fiery period with a refreshing twist. Your post-season review can lead to a smoother and more efficient delivery operation year-round. All right, everybody. Now I can get that pepper off my gums. Okay. Now that we've raised the glass to a successful peak season, let's take a moment to reflect on the recent rush. This past season presented its own unique set of challenges and opportunities, and analyzing those experiences is key to optimizing your deliveries for the future. So our conversation today will be a mix of retrospective analysis and forward-thinking strategies. We're going to start by diving into some key trends that you observed during peak season. So Vijay, what were some major shifts in consumer behavior that impacted deliveries?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jerry. Holiday seasons, it's been a minute, but one thing that hasn't waned since the holiday season is consumers' appetite for online shopping and home delivery. And actually, just about a couple weeks ago, Pitney Bowes released our 2024 version of the Parcel Shipping Index, which is a kind of an annual tradition. We mix our own drinks whenever it comes out, and it does get a lot of press because it has substantiated the growth of the e-commerce parcel market over the last almost 10 years now. Since 2015, we've been running this thing. I'll tell you what's come out of this is that this past peak season was the most online peak season in history, and that is including the COVID era, right? During the pandemic, when folks were locked into their houses and hunkered down in their living rooms and redecorating every flat surface of their homes and buying everything online, that is still less than what they are buying now online and during peak season. So the online shopping habit hasn't been kicked. It wasn't a blip for online for the COVID era. Now, that said, the nature of the purchases is different. What we're seeing is a shift towards more affordable goods. They're trading down on brands. The emergence of dupe culture on TikTok has spurred a lot of sort of copycat marketplace sellers from a number of different marketplaces, both overseas and domestic. And what that's resulted in is a fundamental shift in the parcel carrier market towards lighter weight parcels. We're seeing a tremendous influx, and that actually changes the dynamic. And I'd love to talk about this in this webinar, or sorry, this podcast, is like, what is that dynamic and how do you deal with the shift in carrier landscape? Because the shift to lighter weight packages means a different mix of carriers, or might be the best fit for the volumes that you're shipping out, or that your marketplace that you're part of might be shipping out. So there's quite a bit of change in the vendors you could be working with, who's the best fit for the type of parcel profile that you now have, and where are the best prices, because lighter weight parcels are substantially cheaper. If you can cut back on the air in your packages, for example, there's quite a bit of savings that's possible. So again, back to your question, the shift really is the resilience of online demand and the impacts on the parcel carrier market, because the type of parcels being shipped is fundamentally different as well. Not just the volume, but the characteristic, the profile is very different.
I agree. As a consumer, I haven't stopped buying online. You know, we really don't go to brick and mortar unless we absolutely have to. We absolutely need to, because the convenience, especially when you're working remote and you're at home often and you're in meetings often, it's harder to get out and make returns or pick things up. Now, that being said, Will, do you feel like the timing of peak season has moved up?
Yeah, tremendously. And I think it's moved up a lot even over the last 2 years, but especially this year. Like talking with a lot of the large retailers, 3PLs, manufacturers that are our customers, most of them were done per se with the massive influx of volume for peak season that first week of December. And I think a lot of that is just because of how peak season has evolved. Like traditionally it was really big Black Friday in person and then Cyber Monday, but now it's really spread out over the course of 2 weeks. So you have all Black Monday or Black Friday sales are even starting Tuesday, Monday of Thanksgiving week, and then Cyber Monday has extended the entire week. So customers are really being price conscious and looking for those deals and buying early and often, so that they don't have to worry about not having the right size, the right goods that they need during traditional peak season and holidays. So it just takes one less thing that they have to worry about during that time of the year. And so it really is that big 2-3 week push. And then once you hit that first week of December, it's really over from that. And it really goes back to more of their normal traditional volume that they see throughout the year.
So considering these consumer trends, how can shippers leverage the data and the analytics that they have, or that they need to have, to glean insights from the past peak season and to optimize their strategies for the next one?
I'll take a first stab at that. Will, I'd love to hear your comments as well. So, the data is interesting, right? What we now see is this shift in inventory distribution models. Historically, you would have maybe a couple of warehouses where you would do all of your e-com fulfillment from. And now the shift is, can I lower my shipping cost if I move my inventory closer where my customers live? And that means having more fulfillment centers. You might serve that up with your own organic network. More likely, you're going to use a 3PL to expand beyond your own facilities. But either way, that creates an inventory challenge. And at the same time, you've got marketplaces, emerging global marketplaces like Temu and Shein and others that are pioneering this new type of real-time retail model where they're changing the products that they sell every single day. They're introducing thousands of new SKUs. It's very tough to go forward position all of your inventory in a bunch of different fulfillment centers when your product mix is changing every single day. So those are two different trends, right? Amazon is leading the regionalization of inventory. They've done it better than anybody else. They have a pretty good handle on demand because they own so much of e-com traffic that they can predict for everyday essentials, especially like frequent purchased items, where geographically they need to be. But as viral trends change, as influencers on TikTok are pushing new products every single day, these new marketplaces are introducing new products. It's a question of if your model is going to be closer to a Shein in the future, is multiple warehouses going to be more complex for you to predict where the demand is going to be and where you need to position inventory. And so this is one of the challenges that's going to play out over the next, I think, 18 to 24 months is this tug of war between more warehouses, lower shipping, but less control over inventory, or fewer warehouses, higher shipping costs, but more control over inventory.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. I think also too, for like, especially the retail space, it's maybe less warehousing, more ship from store capabilities, just because cost, location, proximity, you're much closer and able to get items to your customers in a much cheaper and timely manner compared to just if you have warehouses located across North America and across the world. And so I think that is the dichotomy of how do you really manage that omni-channel experience and fulfillment model within your company. And a lot of it really does depend on where your customers, what type of goods are they buying. Historically and obviously, demand optimization and forecasting is huge moving forward, just to have a better idea of where you need to have items across your customer base, and specifically in the different regions, because they're all going to be different, especially with what they want at different times of year. And so I think it's a lot of leveraging that data to best position yourself for future success, which I think is always just an ever improving model. So doing a little bit better this year compared to you did last year, and do a little bit better next year, and just keep iterating from there.
It's a balancing act, isn't it? I mean, every shipper wrestles with a constant balancing act, how to deliver quickly, keep costs under control, avoid overwhelming your team, etc. So in your experiences, what are some strategies that shippers can employ to manage the cost, speed, bandwidth triangle during peak and beyond? Vijay, what kind of strategies should shippers be paying attention to and implementing?
I think one that, as I mentioned earlier, it's like this model with the new marketplace, the emerging marketplaces like Temu and Shein, is really fast changing SKUs, right? It's fast moving inventory. So you don't want your manufactured goods to sit too far though from where your customers are, because you're going to lose out on shipping speed. It's this tug of war, right? Speed versus cost. And on top of that, you've got a limited number of resources in your organization. There's a bandwidth challenge. And so one of the solutions that we've seen a lot of brands undertake is, instead of just shipping directly from manufacturer overseas, or even bringing it forward and for positioning it, is near shore it. There are a number of options opening up to fulfill from a fulfillment center in Mexico or even Canada, then into the US. And what that allows you to do is to at least forward position your inventory close enough in a cost-effective location, especially Mexico, then truck it over into the US. And if you've got enough volume, line haul it, zone skip it straight to where your customer's volume is, so you can take advantage of shorter zones, which reduces your cost of transportation. And so a lot of that is a question of how much volume do you have? And if you don't have enough volume to line haul it, can you work with a carrier? Can you work with a technology partner who can optimize the cost based on the type of parcel profile that you have?
Nearshoring is one of the best ideas I've heard that many shippers are starting to implement. Will, what kind of strategies are you seeing your customers out in the field implement, and what do you recommend?
Yeah, we have definitely seen a lot of nearshoring, specifically, especially like right across the border from California and Mexico, just because location-wise, very easy to hit the West Coast and all your major distribution or metropolitan areas there within 2-day transit time, which is great for that. And also just from customs-wise, makes it very nice and easy to get everything through quickly across that board. Something that we've seen a good portion of too, as well as utilizing 3PL services. So mainly doing a lot of your distribution if you're going to do it out of your warehouses, but using 3PLs in specific regions in order to really work and optimize that cost, speed, and mainly that bandwidth one, just because it might be a better use of your resources and operations and staff to utilize a 3PL that already has an existing network and infrastructure in a specific geography rather than creating your own warehouse and starting it up from scratch. And so that's something that we've seen a lot of customers use and really help optimize and make their process a little bit more efficient while obviously having some cost savings during peak season.
And one of the cost saving aspects that everyone should be considering heavily, because it is crucial, are returns, especially with the growth of international sales. So with the lessons learned from this past peak season, what are some strategies shippers can implement to streamline the international return process, especially during peak times when the volume is up high? And I know that Pitney Bowes does a really good job with this. So can you highlight the services and the specialty that Pitney can provide, Vijay?
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk about both domestic and international. I mean, international returns, depending on how much volume you have, could be a very small number of returns. So does it make sense for you to bring it back in the country? Well, it depends on if you're working with the same return partner, both domestically and internationally. You can bundle those transportation, those parcels into one rate card that allows you to kind of get some volume discounts. So that's one. But from a feature capability standpoint, we do a tremendous amount of business in Canada. It is probably the largest target for shoppers coming to U.S. brands. It's from Canadians. And what you might want to consider is, do you want to even bring those returns back over the border? Because what you're going to have to do is recalculate duties. You're going to do what's called a duty drawback, because the duties were paid up front, and now you have to kind of refund those duties and reprocess taxes. It's a little bit of a headache. Someone like Pitney can help you manage that headache for you, but that's a cost, right? You're going to have to rebalance your books. And instead, what you could do is disposition it right in country. Whether if it's not resellable, why even bring it back? So let's determine if it's resellable. And if it's not, why don't we dispose of it or donate it in country? And if it can be resold without a lot of work to refurbish the item, why ship it back just to ship it out again? Why not keep it in country and then fulfill from there? Again, if it's in sellable condition. And so it depends on how much volume you have going to Canada. If you can have enough volume of returns coming back, it might make sense for you to consolidate and bring it back over the border. But there are a lot of drawbacks there. From a domestic standpoint, we are probably the longest standing e-com returns vendor in the market. Started back in 2004 with Nugistics, which we acquired a few years ago, just before the pandemic. And as a result, we've been kind of doing this for a while, and we know a lot about returns domestically even. And one of the things that we're working on right now, and we've released, is ways to fight fraud. Retailers say fraud is the #1 concern they have with returns. And fraudulent returns, Jerry, you were saying about shopping in store is kind of a pain. Fraud is really what's making the in-store experience bad right now, is because there's so much fraud happening, theft happening in stores. They're locking products behind lock and key, and that's so annoying, isn't that experience, right? And so, like, when you have to go and talk to a store associate to get something out of the racks, you don't feel like shopping in the store. It's the same. It's sort of the same with adding sort of onerous restrictions around returns. You're going to scare away a lot of customers. So what you need to figure out is, how do you have ways to introduce friction that don't turn customers away? Because you don't want to make it so easy that customers want to return everything anytime, right? And you don't want to be constantly issuing refunds and paying for return shipping. But at the same time, you don't want to bring down the hammer and say that, returns are going to have to pay for shipping every single time. You're going to turn off your most loyal customers. And so we've started to introduce ways of identifying multiple paths to returns. One for customers that maybe not part of your loyalty program. If they are part of your loyalty program, maybe you give them free returns, and if they're not, maybe you charge for shipping on returns. Or we have ways of turning on and turning off where you can take your return. Can we offer you a no box, no label experience? That's something that we've enabled just recently through a national network of drop-off locations. You don't have to have a package up return. It's just like an Amazon experience. That actually reduces fraud, because there is this stigma about putting the wrong item or a box of rocks and returning that when you don't have a box to carry it in, right? And so we're starting to see a reduction in fraud, which is, again, the #1 concern that retailers have.
Interesting. So now that we've learned a little bit more about Pitney Bowes and the variety of return solutions that help, Will and Vijay, when it comes to customer experience and reducing costs during peak season and year round, what are some areas of improvement that shippers can potentially make other than return solutions?
Will, do you want to go first, or I take this one first?
I'll let you go first.
Yeah, so we've introduced a new feature. We unveiled it at Shop Talk. It's called Gift Tracker, and what we have done is we've converted the tracking page when you give a gift into a greeting card, where you can record a video message or a photo with a text message, and that message gets revealed as the package makes its way to its destination, and you see the entire message upon delivery. And those things are possible because we're on the tracking page. We know the status of the package, and so we can make the greeting card experience with giving a gift naturally, natively digital, but at the same time bring that surprise and delight. And I've got a stat for you, Jerry, here. We ran a survey over the holidays, a consumer survey of 2,000 US consumers, over 2,000 US consumers. Among Gen Z shoppers, almost half, 43%, said that they would pay, this is the #1 feature they would pay for, would be a digital greeting card to go along with a gift that they're buying and having the merchant deliver directly to the recipient. This is something they're looking for. And it's not surprising why. This is the generation that grew up with the unboxing video on YouTube. The surprise and delight of receiving a package is ingrained in their DNA at this point, because of how much they imbue into this experience of unboxing and kind of that recipient experience. And now we've sort of added a digital layer on top that's really personalized. And it creates a sense of anticipation as the gift makes its way.
And it goes across generations. All
Right.
generations will love this. I love this idea, and it's personalized. It's convenient. Old Gen Xers like me will love it, and the younger generations will love it too. I love that.
We old people will tolerate it, but the younger generations will revel in it. How about that?
I will revel in it. I think that is the greatest miss that so many large brands have right now is tracking. A lot of them right now, all they do is just they send the tracking them to their customer, and then they go track it on their own. So you are at the mercy of carrier software, which is not always the best. But I love that of the personalization, just because it just builds the anticipation all the way throughout the entire process. Okay, somebody ordered me a gift. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Who was it? All the way until you get closer and closer until it actually gets there and you see who it's from. It's just such a great customer experience, and it really builds a lot of good feelings and goodwill with your company, rather than, I love Amazon to death. I buy way too much from there. But to get a little white piece of paper that's sometimes in the box that you really can never find that says who it's from, it's just such a hard, and it's a missed opportunity by so many large customers. Yeah, it's such a miss. And so really during peak season where people love the unboxing, this is such a great way to really embrace and enhance that whole customer experience and really their goodwill and feelings towards you, to really personalize it and customize. It's awesome. So I'm so glad that you guys are, Gen Z, I will gladly pay for it too. Just anecdotally, I think it is so fun, especially if you're giving gifts to people. Why not?
Yeah, why not, right? Like, I mean, the receipt paper thing from Amazon is exactly why we do this. I mean, if the #1 most customer obsessed company on earth hasn't figured this out, this is an opportunity, right? This is a latent opportunity to take advantage of.
Well, you may have gained quite a few new customers after this podcast. Okay, so before we wrap up today's conversation, and we've got a lot of information in a little bit of time, we're going to do our this or that segment. And this will help us get to know our experts a little bit better. And we're going to play a quick round of this or that, and we'll see how they approach some classic peak season dilemmas we just discussed, and maybe learn a thing or two about them along the way. So here's some fun questions, and then I will ask some topic-related questions. So Vijay, I'm going to let you go first. So the first fun question: would you rather sing karaoke solo or give a presentation to your entire company?
You don't want this mug singing anything. I play, but the singing is out. I would not recommend it. Happily, we'll deliver a PowerPoint to anybody that will listen. Absolutely.
You are a great public speaker. Will, what about you?
Oh, I'm singing karaoke all day long. My voice, not the best, but if I can sing Mr. Brightside, I'm good. I'm sold.
Mr. Brightside, that's a deep cut, man. I
gotta go across multiple generations.
What you're talking about.
Get everybody involved. It'll get fun.
That's good. Okay, so would you rather, Will, you go first, be able to control the weather or rewind time by 10 seconds?
Living in the South, I would love to control the weather. Don't have to worry about the pollen season that we're in right now, especially during the summertime when it can get a little too hot and muggy. I would love to be able to control the weather.
Will, do you know how many prop bets you could make by being able to rewind time 10 seconds? You could be really filthy rich. I'm just telling you. Just you're giving up.
I know, but it's just I just like being outside, so I'd control the weather.
Okay, Vijay, your turn now. An unlimited supply of pizza or French fries?
Okay, so here's my theory, Jerri. Pizza is the most perfect food because it has all the food groups. You can have vegetables on it. It's got dairy. It's got protein, and it's got grains. I grew up at a time where there were only four food groups. There were no pyramids or other shapes involved. Just 4 food groups, and pizza has all 4 of those. French fries, on the other hand, barely even has one. I don't even know if there's a vegetable involved.
Is potato a vegetable? Will, what do you say?
Oh, I'm a VJ all day long. Give me pizza. Because you can have so many different varieties. You can have deep dish, you can have Sicilian, you can have thin crust. You got a lot of different options.
That's right. I mean, the options on French fries are like what? Wedges and crinkles? I mean, come on, no.
Poutine.
That's true.
Okay, so topic related questions. Will, you're first. Would you rather rely on customer feedback or industry benchmark data for peak season prep?
I mean, ideally, it's a combination of both. But I would say customer feedback. I think voice of the customer is it's so important to be able to drive those relationships and make sure that you're always improving and retaining them.
Point. Vijay, what do you say?
I'm gonna try to go the other route, and I mean, yeah, obviously both, absolutely. The benefit of the industry benchmark though is that it's customers you haven't acquired yet. So the value there is, obviously you should be listening to customer feedback all year long, but for peak season, you have people buying gifts who may not shop your site, who are shopping there specifically because the loved one that they're buying a gift for may shop there, right? You have a new person coming in. So how do you measure up that experience versus what they're used to? They're new to your site and they're not part of your customer demographic potentially. And so just as a contrarian, that's the other option.
Okay, Vijay, you're next this time. Investing in temporary staff or peaks for peak season or cross-training existing employees?
Yeah, so this one's an easy one. We have facilities because we're a carrier, a national carrier, and 9.999 times out of 10, our full-time employees are more productive. There's no learning curve, right? They have a vested interest in the success of the operation. They understand the SOP. They understand the facility layout. There are so many reasons why existing employees have value beyond the fact that they're already here and are easy to acquire, easy to bring on. It's because they're motivated more than temporary employees to do a great job. And so every single time, cross-train.
Will?
Yeah, I'm with Vijay. So coming from the world of UPS, peak assignment is a very real thing that a lot of different corporate employees get to experience. And so I think it's just such a great experience too of that cross-training, just to give people a different viewpoint of the business from the operation side, where they might not see it if they're mainly from like the district headquarters or along those lines. And so I think it just creates a much better cross-functional viewpoint, especially for your employees that are going to be there for a long time. And I think it gives them a much better viewpoint and perspective of how the operation works across multiple disciplines than just the world that they see on a typical day-to-day basis.
I agree. And hold on, you said UPS peak and you made me want to have a drink. Having been through that, good times. Okay, last one. Actually, next to last one. Just-in-time inventory or bulk storage? Will?
I think just-in-time inventory. I think especially with how people have evolved and changed their supply chains since COVID, with a lot of the nearshoring and different things that we've talked about, I think that is the best way to move forward, to make sure that you're maintaining and optimizing your inventory management across all your different shipping locations.
My supply chain management professors would kill me if I said anything other than JIT. What do you think, Vijay?
No, I agree. I mean, JIT was such a trend for a while, right? Especially in manufacturing. But I think the opportunity to bring products into your supply chain just in time as a retailer is a fairly new concept, right? I don't think it's been possible, especially with international manufacturers, for very long. And I think the just-in-time is a great fit for where the industry is going in terms of taste. The problem that we have today is that taste is so personalized on social media and online. Whatever your taste is, you can go find your tribe, right? Which means you've been validated. You're not everybody's watching the Seinfeld finale anymore, right? There is no tentpole monoculture. And what that means is that we don't know what the trends are going to be. And if you don't know what the trends are going to be, how do you plan in advance? How do you do bulk storage? How do you build an inventory if you don't know what the demand pattern is going to be moving forward? And so just in time is not just better, it is going to be necessary, I think, moving forward.
Okay, Vijay, last one. Focusing on preventing returns through better product descriptions or offering a generous return window? I think I know what you're saying.
I mean, the generous return window is helpful during peak, right? Just because the people, as Will was saying early on, like the peak is starting earlier and earlier. That means you're sitting on a gift purchase until Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, right? You're waiting until the end of peak to give that gift. And then you have to wait until after peak to return that gift if you have to return it, which means most of those return windows have expired at that time. That's a bad customer experience. So during peak, I think generous return windows, but rest of the year, I mean, or any other time, and including in peak, there are better product descriptions for sure. I think what we're gonna have to see in the industry is, especially with AI, how do you visualize the product in your home or on you more effectively, more accurately, because pictures are just not doing it, right? Pictures are not enough. And so I think it's just not just descriptions and pictures, but you've got to make it interactive, immersive, personalized.
Agreed. Will, I know what you're going to choose to.
It's
Focusing.
I have to second Vijay. It's the generous return window. I think especially for peak season, it's a lot of purchasing for items that are not your own. And so you don't always know what sizes they are because they're going to differ from brand to brand. And so I think giving the customers that experience or that generous return window is huge, just because nobody wants to go do it during the last 2 weeks of the year. They have to be able to go and return it into January, which is when, and have that optionality to be able to return it if it doesn't fit. So they can either get a different size, different color, or whatever their preferred choice is. I think retailers and manufacturers have to give a good return window in order to keep customers happy and to keep them buying more from their different stores.
Great points, gentlemen. So everybody, there you have it. We've covered a lot of ground today. So now we are going to turn to some final thoughts and maybe some actionable takeaways from our experts. And Vijay, I will start with you.
So picture this. Peak season is almost done. You've done all your planning. Black Friday went great. It's been a solid peak season. You get your team together. You know what you do? You buy them a margarita. That's what you should do. That's my parting thought right there.
I love it. Will?
I mean, I can't follow up getting a margarita. I think that is perfect. But I think the second point is just thinking about the whole customer experience. It does not end once they get it in their hands. The whole returns process and post-purchase experience has been such a big influence. And I think it really is a big driver of where consumers, especially in my generation, are going to continue to buy from and where they will start buying from. And really making sure that you optimize that entire process is huge, because a lot of customers, they don't even think about returns right now, or that is covered in the box in the corner that they don't want to open because it's just Pandora's box. And so having a detailed plan for the different scenarios and using Pitney Bowes returns process, for example, I think it is such a big value add that a lot of customers can really enhance and optimize their entire shipping experience from when they order it till maybe if they even have to return it.
I want to change my answer to Will's answer, but also the margarita. Margarita's still good.
Yes, margaritas are very important.
Well, I'm impressed. This is really good. It's a little strong, and every now and then spice. But yeah, it's delicious. Y'all did a good job. So that's a great way to wrap things up with a good margarita and some valuable insight from the two of you. So a huge thank you to you, Vijay, and to you, Will, for joining us today and sharing your expertise. We learned a lot about navigating peak season challenges, and hopefully we all are going to emerge stronger on the other side of this coming peak. So everybody else, don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn for exciting announcements about our next episode. And if you have any ideas for cocktails, be sure to post them on the LinkedIn announcements. And until then, happy sipping, happy shipping, and cheers.
Thanks for joining us on ProShip ParcelCast Unwined. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a review. We appreciate your thoughts. Looking for even more strategies and solutions to navigate the shipping landscape? Head over to our website at ProShipInc.com. We're not just another software company. We're dedicated to becoming the perfect fit for your unique needs, helping you ship smarter, not harder. Cheers, and see you next time.